Bam. Greeting words, Assalamu alaikum. I mention both Jesus and Muhammad's names. Peace be upon them both. You're looking at the Underground Railroad. We come on every Saturday night at 10:30. So after you get through looking at Fox News, ABC, CBS, and PBS at 10:30 p.m., tell your friends to tune into the Underground Railroad television show. Get the real news. And today I have not had a politician on in about maybe 15 years. But Donnell, he told me about he's extraordinary guy, and I'm gonna have you introduce yourself because I didn't write it down. I'm gonna let them know that. So he's running for office. He may want volunteers. He may need somebody to do signatures for him. I don't know, but I'm gonna let him. He's a teacher too. You tell what school. So let me see.
Well, thank you for having me on the show, Mr. Bradley. My name is Froy Jimenez. I am a proud CPS teacher and a proud CPS union member with the Chicago Teachers Union. I'm also a father, above all, a husband, and I am somebody that is running for the 1st District of the State Senate here in Illinois.
What are the borders in the 1st District so people can know?
The borders of the 1st District start off around 16th Street on the south side and go approximately to about 71st Street. It is a district that goes on a diagonal from east to west. On the east, starting around the Dan Ryan and finishing up around Midway Airport. Wow. So it is a big district, but it is a very important district in which we need somebody that understands the people of that district, our working class people, and we need somebody that identifies and connects with them. So I am very glad to be on your show to be able to explain and expound on my ideas so that people can recognize that they're going to have a champion in Springfield, and they're going to have somebody that is going to stand up to the special interest that has been going against them, and a system that is not helping working class people, that is hurting working class people.
Now, I always ask the politician when they come on, can you tell me, either you don't have to, what part has your wife played in your decision making to run for office?
That's a great question. My wife is my number one confidant. I definitely rely on her on some of my strategies, some of my decisions. I believe we both rely in God. We both believe firmly that He should be the light of our decisions, and so she keeps me grounded in whatever I do. It should be something that the man upstairs and Almighty God should also back, and so she keeps me grounded. I appreciate that she's outspoken. I want a wife that is also outspoken and not afraid to say, hey, rethink that, or why did you choose this? So me and my wife are a tag team, and I believe that other people in the district feel this way, that we should have an ability to empower women and treat them as equals, and most definitely give them the love and support that they deserve. My wife gave birth to our son, who is nearly 2 months old, Lucas Jimenez, and we are raising, just like a lot of families in the 1st District are raising kids and want the best interest for them, whether that be education, whether that be housing, whether that be health care, many other issues. We stand together with many of the families in the 1st District that want the best for our youth.
Okay, I want to ask you, what I want you to specifically talk about immigration, because this is a big issue. The country is divided. It's like Moses parting the Red Sea. Some people on this side, some people on that side. There it is. And I want to ask you, do you think that President Donald Trump, is wrong on immigration? Did he get it wrong, or was he right, and why?
Great question. I do concur with you insofar as that President Trump polarizes and continues to polarize our country. I believe that is not good, because we stand as the United States of America, and he is dividing us and segregating us. And his number one purpose behind that is to keep elected. He does it in a political way. His reasons are to politically divide the country so he can stay in office. And so that is going against the better interest of our nation. To be specific, I would like to mention some things that he can do in order to unite us. For instance, immigration is the type of topic that needs comprehensive reform. You're not going to have one solution or one law cover all the different subtopics of immigration. One of the things that I think he can be doing is he can be meeting, like he does with other world leaders, he can be meeting specifically with presidents in Central America, with the president of Mexico, and he needs to press the flesh with them, because much of the problem that is in immigration is not only the United States and our border. The problem originates in parts of Latin America, and I believe if we were able to change some of the laws, international laws, that comes with immigration, we would be dealing with not only the United States, but we would be looking at a more holistic view of how to deal with this comprehensive reform.
My follow-up to that is, he is addressing the immigration laws and making sure that the laws are being enforced, and they were not enforced before. Do you agree with that? I disagree with it. They were not enforced. And he said, you know what? I'm going to make people follow the rules. Do you agree with that? That they were ignored?
I believe
they made it escalate to even get to this point.
I believe we need to fund a comprehensive reform. And what I mean by that specifically,
I'm saying what they ignored before he got in office.
I believe the patrol agents and some of the other staffing were understaffed. And for instance, instead of allocating money to a wall, we should not do that. We should be allocating money for more technology that might detect or might help us in a more efficient way than building a wall that is just, sort of like the ancient wall of China. We can do better than that. We need to work smarter.
I want to go back to the original question. The original question that I asked you is, before he got in office, were these laws ignored by presidents before him to make it escalate to this point?
Now, specifically,
I'm talking about
law?
The immigration laws. They were lax. You know what? They were not paid attention to. People were exploiting, and the presidents didn't pay attention to it.
I believe some of those laws were not taken very seriously.
Okay.
I think that we could do a better job of enforcement.
Okay.
I believe that specifically because of our security threats, we need to make sure that we have the capable staff and the training and the technology to be able to deter anyone that is coming to possibly, enter our borders with not the right intentions. Having said that, I do think that there is plenty of people coming into this country that can help. I know that there has been legislation that welcomes people that need to work here, because there's not a lot of people in the U.S. that are willing to do some of the jobs necessary. I'll give you one specific example. In the 1960s, 1970s, there was a program called the Bracero program. And
what does bracero mean?
Bracero means arm. It means strong arm.
Okay.
And it means arm because you need labor to pick different vegetables up, to do the agricultural work that most people really don't want those jobs. But some people in Latin America, some people in Mexico want to work in that industry. So if we could do it in a legalized way, that is an example in American history where that can be done. And so you asked me about, what can be done. I think that is part of the comprehensive program, to encourage people to take some of the jobs that, quite frankly, some of our industries. America's a big agricultural country, and it needs the labor force. And so I believe it is a comprehensive problem, but we need to deal with it individually. And I think that what Trump is doing is he's just stirring people up and giving them sound bites, but it's not dealing with the problem at its root, and is not dealing with the problem in the different subcategories which it needs.
Okay, and you know what? this is a question. This is really what I would like to know is, since there are illegal immigrants, and I don't mean to be disrespectful by even making a statement like that, do you believe that there's a protocol that should be followed to get in the United States of America? Do you believe that there's steps that should be taken? I'm not talking about jumping over a wall. I'm not talking about digging under a tunnel, excuse me. Do you believe that there should be a proper protocol? And if people don't follow that protocol, there should be repercussions for that.
I do believe there should be a protocol. I believe, like I just mentioned to you, if people want to work in the United States in industries where agriculture and other industries need help, and Americans are welcoming. I just noticed that even here in Illinois, the Illinois Chamber of Commerce welcomes immigrants working in the different restaurants and the different services. It wants people to take those jobs. But can we do it in a legal way? Can we do it in a protocol, like you mentioned, that there is a certain process? I welcome that. I believe that we can win when you have a protocol and when you have people that want to work and you have an industry that is welcoming workers.
Now, wait a minute. Now, you welcome that, and I have to follow up with other questions. Now, if you welcome that there's a proper protocol to come in, proper steps to get into the country, what about the people that are here illegally that did not follow the protocol? If you did not follow the protocol, there should be repercussions for that. Do you agree or disagree with that?
Well, I believe, for instance, if we're going to talk about the Dreamers, if that's what you're
I'm not talking about them.
I do believe that falls into the category of people that are here that somehow did not necessarily come in through a protocol that you're mentioning. Now, the Dreamers are an example, and I have plenty of students, and I want to speak to those students and their families.
What school do you teach at to?
I teach at John Hancock High School.
Okay, thank you.
And I want to say, in Chicago Public Schools, there are plenty of students that came here at an early age, possibly as babies, possibly as infants, that have lived here their whole life. Many of those students are now in college and are one of America's brightest minds. They have so much to offer. Yet, because of things not in their control, they are now suffering and in a limbo status because of President Trump and his inability to do something about DACA, which is leaves so many families in limbo.
What is DACA for people that don't know what that is?
DACA is a program that is talking about specifically those dreamers and those youth and their families that will enable them to be here in a legal way.
Okay.
If you're telling college students that are actually learning to be doctors, learning to be productive members of society, that we don't want you in the United States, where they have the potential to help so many people, that is a failed policy by Trump and our Congress. And I think that there needs to be more cooperation, and I think we should push that to the forefront of issues that need to be dealt with immediately. And I don't believe that immigrants that are in this position should have to deal with racist remarks or have to deal with the uncertainty of not being able to continue their college education, or even if they're already practicing and doing something productive, say, hey, you know what, you cannot stay here anymore, and now we're going to divide you and your families, which is a whole nother topic that I believe we should talk about, is the division of families at the border and in different countries, because it affects many humans, and it's wrong.
Now, you specifically talking about, I agree with you on the Dreamers. I agree with you.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and many families do.
Now he's getting me. But the thing is, what I was saying is, you know what, there is a protocol that should be followed to enter this country. Yes, because you know it and I know it. You can't go to Europe without a passport. And you know it and I know it. If we go to Europe without a passport, we being brought back to the United States.
Correct.
In shackles. So, but my thing is,
Appreciate you, Mr.
And you know what? Asylum City. You know what the mayor, Lori Lightfoot, said that she would not abide by sanctuaries.
I think she said she would abide.
She will abide.
She supports
sanctuary city.
Yes, she does, and I'm happy that she does. Thank you.
And my question to you is, you running for office, you will be a lawmaker, and you know that this goes against federal law. You know, so do you support what Lori Lightfoot, the mayor of Chicago, Lightfoot, is doing by saying, the heck with the federal law, we gonna look to the side, just like former presidents did, about letting people into our district that are not, is she right or wrong?
First of all, I'd like to thank Mayor Lightfoot for taking a position, strong position, when it comes to defending the many immigrants of our city. I would like to say, to specifically answer your question, is that I think Chicago Police Department, the officers of the Chicago Police Department, their number one task is safety and the protection and the security of our neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. They should not be serving as a second immigration officer, or they should not be doing the job of a border patrol officer. Those are different dependencies, those are different jurisdictions. I believe we need to deal with what's happening in our neighborhoods, and we should not be taking resources and police officers that can be serving our different neighborhoods and protecting them, and then now saying, no, now we need you to do an immigration officer's job. That is wrong, and that is, I believe, something that was a detriment to our city. We should enable and empower our police officers to do their job, not somebody else's job.
Is that not also wrong to give capital or resources of natural citizens to people that by federal law they do not belong here?
Can you rephrase that question? I'm not so sure I understand.
I say, is that right or lawful to give taxpayers' resources to somebody that did not follow protocol to come in this country, to get driver's license, to give them home care, to give them all these things that American citizens are entitled to? Is that not wrong?
Well, the way I interpret your question, I think you're talking about taxes. Yeah, and I do think
that puts a burden on taxpayers, because if you're not entitled to something, if you did not, as you said, follow the protocol, how are you entitled to something?
Well, let me just, I think, correct you in one way. I think that everybody that is in this country is paying taxes. We're paying sales taxes every time we purchase something. There are many immigrants in this city that contribute to our local economy. They are paying sales taxes, and they are paying other types of taxes that our state offers and provides, and that our city provides. And I believe our local economy would not have those taxes if we didn't have those families, purchasing in the different local businesses, et cetera, et cetera. So I believe you need to really look at both sides of that issue, and I believe that they are already contributing, and it would be a detriment to our city to lose that revenue.
So therefore, what you're saying in essence is that, like Mayor Lightfoot said, we should not follow the federal law or the mandate. That's what you're saying is being, you made to become elected. Well, we should not follow it.
I don't want to really, you have put words in my mouth. What I am saying is Mayor Lightfoot is smart, and she knows that in the many immigrants is our strength and our diversity in this city. And I believe that she knows that immigrants contribute to the local economy, and I believe that she cares about security, she cares about crime prevention, and she wants our Chicago Police Department to be doing their job instead of somebody else's job.
Okay, so the federal law, I understand. So the federal law should be ignored. I understand.
What should we prioritize first? I think we should prioritize Chicago. I think we should prioritize safety in Chicago. I think we should prioritize jobs in Chicago. I think we should look at local politics first. It's the number one law of politics. We should take care of our neighborhoods first.
Okay. You know something? This is something that you said you wanted to discuss, and you were talking about young children being in detention after their parents are taken into, I don't want to say camps, ICE, the camps where they're located at once they're detained, and you seeing the children being separated. And I think you may have said this wrong, or you may have didn't say anything in the way they're being treated. Would you like to expand on that?
Yes, we have a situation now in which we have people looking for political asylum that are coming from different countries, and what's happening is we don't have the resources here in this country in order to properly address that topic. That's first and foremost. I do believe there is horrendous conditions in those detention centers, and we have had proof, and journalists go and visit, and we have had congressional members of Congress go and visit those facilities, and they all concur that at the present time those conditions are deplorable. And I mean, you have kids that don't have blankets, you have kids taking care of other kids, you have basically something that would go against any United Nations resolution. And so it is sad to see our country be in this situation. I believe we should definitely look at ways in which we can reform that process. And one of the ways that's already taken place is we are working with those other countries that I mentioned, Central America and Mexico, in having a system where some of those asylum seekers are no longer waiting for their cases to be done here in the United States. Now they are waiting in Mexico at the border and in Mexican territory. And from what I understand, even Mexico is now cooperating so that from Central America there is a protocol so there isn't as many people that are seeking asylum and waiting in U.S. detention center. That being said, we can allocate more resources for those kids because those kids are suffering trauma and will suffer a lifetime of regret that they went through those conditions. So we need to have the proper staff be able to deal with those kids so that if they do stay in the United States, they don't have any problems in later, having trouble in school or having, issues where they did not seek the proper treatment and they become productive members of society, like I was talking about those college-educated immigrants that can give back to our country instead of, somehow being affected emotionally and mentally. And so we need to deal with that problem. Those kids are going through some rough times, and those families are going through rough times. If your family was separated from you and you were separated from your kids, that would affect you mentally and physically for a long time.
I'm going to ask you a question. This may sound cruel, what I'm going to say. And there's some people that want to know. We don't blame the kids. Shouldn't you blame the parents to a certain extent to even put their kids through something like that, knowing that it was a possibility that something like this tragic could occur? Does any fault go on the parents, in your opinion?
I think you bring up a good point. And I think what you need to look at is, where are these parents coming from? They're coming from an environment. If they stay in that country and if they stay in those conditions, they're going to die. And I'll tell you why. There is cartels and there is evil people that will definitely punish those families to the point of death. That is why they are leaving. They are leaving because it's a life and death situation. So if you want to, maybe look at the root being the parents, the parents are doing what's best for their kids, because if they stay, they're going to die.
And there's a lot of people, me included. Can you expand upon and share some of the things you heard about, the deplorable conditions that would make somebody would want to flee their own country to get the hell out of there to come to the United? Can you expand on these conditions?
Well, certainly.
I'll maybe share a story. Okay.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you a story right now of someone that was threatened by the cartels and said, if you don't leave, or if you don't leave us your house, right, because they were going after properties sometimes, we will kill your children, right? And so that is a vicious threat that I think that is, if I was a parent, I would not take a chance and see, let me see what happens if they're joking or not, because we've seen evidence where there is a lot of violence, and those threats are made to happen. And so that's unfortunately, in parts of the world, it is a very life or death situation, and we can't save all the countries, but I do think we could certainly have our president do more and press the flesh and start to, really come up with solutions that are not racist and go there. Let's see you, put your feet where your mouth is and do something about it.
Okay, you know what? I appreciate the dialogue. Please, people, tell people your name, where your campaign office is. Do you need volunteers? And tell them. You got
most definitely. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Froy Jimenez. I'm running to be your next state senator in the 1st District. And I believe in helping working class people. I believe for far too long we've had politicians that have been enriching themselves, and they've been making deals with other politicians, and they make themselves rich. I don't want to do that. I want to say no to that, and I want to actually help the working class people. We're going to be walking the different areas and different neighborhoods of the district, which is among Pilsen, Bridgeport, Gage Park, McKinley Park, Brighton Park, Archer Heights, and Garfield Ridge, among other neighborhoods. And if you live in those neighborhoods, or even if you do not, you will have a champion in me. Go to Springfield and help working class people that deserve better leadership.
Where's your office at? Where's your office at? What's your telephone number? Give it to them.
Yes, we're going to be starting at Halstead, which is about the east end of the district. We're operating out of there and around 16th Street. But then we are going to be moving offices momentarily. I don't know the exact location of that office.
Telephone number, email address?
But yes, you can definitely interact with us. I want to hear from people at Froy for Illinois Senate in the Facebook page. And then we also have a Twitter account that is Froy for Senate, at Froy for Senate.
Okay, telephone number, do you want to give that or not really?
You know what? I believe now in the age of social media, people can reach us that way, but an email address is I think, due. It is also froyforsenate@gmail.com. Okay. And I really do want to thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum to everybody. You're looking at the Underground Railroad. Share this on Facebook and YouTube and all those channels. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you.